You put them on the bus every morning with a hug and a smile, but what happens once those doors close may make you cringe. ABC 2 News investigator Josie Sturman is digging into school bus discipline reports some districts won't let you see.
That is right, Jamie. We asked 7 local districts for reports that detail what happens on school buses. Those reports show sex, drugs, violence, and threats that make some rides rougher than others. It is a leap of faith you take every morning, putting your children in another person's hands.
You put your children on this school bus, they become our children.
Surrogate parents for the small window of time they carry your kids. But bus drivers are something more. Part babysitter, part safety expert, and as ABC 2 News investigators found, part enforcer.
I think most parents don't know what happens.
Laura Michaels knows. She says her son was bullied on the bus, kicked, spit on, and hurt. And her daughter is full of stories about what she's seen happen on the way to and from school.
And the things that she tells me that happens on the middle school bus are hard to believe.
But we've seen proof of the unbelievable things that happen once the bus doors close. ABC 2 investigators sifted through hundreds of school bus discipline reports that get filled out by drivers when things go bad. From drugs and sex to threats and violence, they've seen it all.
You would think they're all big kids, older kids. But a lot of this stuff stems up just from elementary kids. You're talking about between the ages of 7 to 11. And they get off the hook, and then you go in front of some school, and they throwing up the little signs up like they know the gang signs. They are off the hook.
The reports detail bad behavior from kindergartners all the way up through high school. In Cecil County, the district had 6 suspensions from bus incidents last school year, mostly related to weapons brought on the bus and assaults, including an 8th grade kid who threatened to kill a student with a letter opener he held to the boy's head, then stabbed the seat where he was sitting. Howard County supplied us hundreds of pages of incidents, including some that ended with suspensions from the bus and from school. Situations like an elementary school student who hit another kid and threatened to kill her with his dad's gun. Students who brought knives on the bus, and full-on fights between middle schoolers that got so heated the bus driver had to pull over.
We can't restrain them. We can't touch them. So what can we really do? They can really take the bus over. There's nothing we can really do about it. You pull over, call the police. That's all you can do.
And police have been called in Anne Arundel County. Their reports detail criminal charges filed against a 6th grader who beat another kid so badly he ended up with a concussion. And 4 high schoolers who were arrested for marijuana possession after a driver smelled pot.
And there's been times where the police have escorted children right off that school bus, right into their police car.
Authorities called in the rare worst-case scenario. That's what Vicki Williams says Anne Arundel County's drivers are trained to do.
You know what? When you think about it, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 eyes.
She handles the extensive training program for the county's school bus operators. It involves hours in a classroom and on the road, role-playing how to handle everything from sick kids to fights that escalate well beyond horseplay.
It should never be a surprise, because if the driver and attendant are taking their responsibility seriously, they're going to feel that static in the air that something is going to get ready to go down.
What goes down on school buses is a matter of public record for most of the 7 districts we contacted, although some want to keep their discipline reports a secret or make them difficult to see. Harford County originally wanted $13,000 for copies of their reports. Baltimore County and Baltimore City simply refused to provide them, calling them confidential student records. Records show districts are watching what happens even though they won't show us. Someone else is watching too. Cameras placed on some buses. The state's Department of Education says all 24 districts in Maryland have started installing them. Some, like Carroll County, already have them on every bus. Others, like Baltimore City, have barely started adding them. Concerned parents, though, say they're essential, along with something else you won't find on many school buses in Maryland: attendance.
I think that each bus driver should have an assistant on every bus, because I think that, I can hardly handle my 3 kids sometimes, let alone 20, 30 kids on one bus.
Someone to play referee, so the bus driver doesn't have to keep an eye on the road, and another on what's happening at the back of the bus. Now, keep in mind, these reports are just a fraction of the hundreds of safe trips taken every year on school buses, but the conduct is serious enough that districts are using cameras to catch what happens now. But you got to know, when an incident happens, many districts tell us they simply pull the tape, make their decision, and then they roll right over that footage. If you want to know whether your district has a watchful eye, check out abc2news.com in the investigator section, and on our homepage, we've got an actual search tool. You can put in your school district and go through and search and find out whether or not that district actually has cameras on its school buses. We'll report and tell you how to do that. We also have a slideshow that takes you through some of the more shocking reports that we've seen in our investigation into discipline on school buses. You'll find that at abc2news.com. Josie Sturman, ABC 2 News.